Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to Screen Rant. I'm Greg Elliott, and Stranger Things Season 3 is now out on Netflix. Each season of the show takes place over roughly the course of a week, with Season 1 taking place in November 1983, Season 2 around Halloween 1984, and the latest season leading up to July 4th, 1985. But there's plenty more than that in the Stranger Things saga, so let's start back as far as we can and run through the entire timeline of the show. Spoilers for all 3 seasons are ahead, so do keep that in mind. So here's some background on Hawkins. 1953 was the year that Hawkins National Laboratory began doing its experiments as part of Project MK Ultra. Steve was born in 1966, and Jonathan, Nancy, and Billy were all born in 1967. Mike, Will, Dustin, Lucas, and Max were born in 1971, as well as Eleven, who, as we know, was taken from her mother at birth. In 1979, Jim Hopper's daughter Sarah died from cancer, which was when he returned to Hawkins and became the police chief. This brings us to Season 1, which began on November 6, 1983, when the Demogorgon escaped from Hawkins' lab and abducted Will Byers. Mike, Lucas, and Dustin find Eleven in the woods on the 7th while looking for him and take her back to Mike's house. Over the next few days, Barb is taken by the Demogorgon, Joyce figures out how to talk to Will through the lights, and Hopper learns more about the lab. It all goes down on November 12th, when Joyce and Hopper go into the Upside Down and find Will, and Eleven destroys the Demogorgon and apparently herself in the process. But as we discover, she might not be dead, as Hopper is leaving Eggos for her out in the forest, and the season ends with Will coughing up a slug as we realize the threat isn't completely gone. So sometime in between Season 1 and 2, Dr. Owen takes over the lab. Joyce and Bob start dating, Billy and Max move to Hawkins, and we find out that Eleven has been living with Hopper at his cabin in the woods. Which brings us to Season 2, which starts on October 29, 1984. Will starts having visions of the Upside Down, and Dustin discovers the Pollywog in his trash can after trick-or-treating, which, as we eventually find out, is actually a baby Demogorgon. On November 2nd, Hopper gets trapped in the Upside Down, and Bob, Joyce, Mike, and Will find him in the tunnels the next day. Eleven runs away to find her real mother and joins up with Callie, another girl from the lab experiments, who helps her hone her powers. On November 5th, they expel the Mind Flayer from Will, Eleven returns, and she and Hopper go to the lab and close the gate. Afterwards, Dr. Owen gives Hopper a forged birth certificate for Eleven, making her officially his daughter, and the season ends on December 15, 1984 at the Snowball Dance, where we learn that the Mind Flayer is definitely not gone. Season 3 picks up the following summer, starting on June 28, 1985. Dustin has just returned home from summer camp and apparently has a girlfriend now, and Hawkins has a sweet new mall called Starcourt. Dustin picks up the Russian transmission on the 29th, and Billy is taken and possessed by the Mind Flayer. Over the next couple days, as Billy kidnaps more people to turn them into Mind Flayer drones, Nancy and Jonathan start investigating the rat problem, and Joyce and Hopper find out about the mayor's dealings with the Russians, and they enlist Murray to help them with some translating. Robin, Steve, and Dustin discover the truth about the mall's loading bay, and they get Lucas's sister Erica to help them get in. I gotta say, I loved the inclusion of the Back to the Future movie scenes, which actually did come out on July 3rd that year. On July 4th, all of our characters finally meet up, the adults head to the lab with help from Erica and Dustin, and the rest of the crew faces the monster at the mall. Billy is killed by the monster after Eleven manages to break through to him, and at the lab, Joyce destroys the machine, closing the gate and apparently killing Hopper in the process. Sometime after July 4th, Mayor Klein is arrested, and we find out that there's an unseen American prisoner at a prison in Russia, who I'm assuming and hoping is a not dead Hopper, but we can't be sure. The season wraps up sometime in October 1985 as we learn Eleven now lives with the Byers family, and they move away from Hawkins. So there you have it guys, 3 seasons of Stranger Things taking place between November 1983 and October 1985. On that schedule, it makes sense that the next season will probably take place in 1986 or 1987, so until Season 4, I'm Greg Elliott with Screen Rant, and please, if you don't mind, keep the door open 3 inches.